if there's one thing we know here in Texas, our governor, Greg Abbott, has his priorities right. You know what he want to do, right? He feels we need to keep those people out of Texas. Those brown people need to keep out of Texas. All those folks coming from down south need to keep themselves out of Texas. So what does he think he's going to do? He's going to build a wall. Abbott wants to build a border wall. Where have we heard that before? God help us. It's a Republican primary season in Texas, and this man wants to build a wall. But guess what? Where are his priorities? Check this out. ERCOT, the electricity reliable system, tells us today, you remember that freeze that you had? It got real cold and we couldn't power you. Our grid went down and over 700 Texans died. Well, now guess what? In Texas, it's no longer the deep freeze. It's the deep heat. And people need their cooling. And guess what? The grid is falling apart again. And they're asking you, please turn your air conditioner up to 78. We can't cool all you folks. And by the way, for those of you who have pools, please turn those pumps off, because the independent ERCOT, the independent Texas grid, you know we do things big in Texas. The independent Texas grid can no longer take care of you. So big Texas, energy capital of the world, we have all the oil you may need. We have all the gas you may need. But we somehow can't turn any of those fossil fuels and the heat of Texas and the wind into electricity. We just can't do it. But we want to build a wall. Look, if we ain't got any electricity, we don't need a wall. Nobody's coming here if we can't keep them cool or keep them warm. You know, we are now the laughing stock of the rest of the country. And guess who did a great job showing that, Texas is what a funny place. Listen to what Brian Williams had to say.
Allow us to introduce you to the state of Texas. And while I know you know Texas, the kind of rootin' tootin' Texas, the everything's bigger in Texas, the don't mess with Texas, the voter suppression is bigger in Texas, you know that Texas. But lately, and under their Trumper governor Greg Abbott, Texas is way more like a contestant on The Bachelorette. Sensitive, putting itself out there, being all vulnerable. First, there was the winter storm. A new investigation by BuzzFeed showed the death toll from that storm revised up at around 700 souls. The entire Texas power grid failed. Ted Cruz flew the coop for Cancun until he was reminded he represented Texas in the Senate. There's trouble in Texas once again. Texans are being warned right there in big oil country, the energy cradle of America, that they must cut back on electricity this week or the lights are going to go out again. By the way, the utility provider there is called ERCOT, and to prove that Texans have a sense of humor, ERCOT stands for the Electric Reliability Council of Texas. But because the electricity is not reliable in Texas, people there are being told to set thermostats to 78, turn off lights and pool pumps, God forbid, because of the power plants that are offline and the grid that remains endangered. And then just tonight, enter Blair Erskine. She's a writer and a comedian who usually within hours of a major news story, especially if there are officials to be parodied, she is up with a new video, and then tonight she did not disappoint. Blair Erskine, fake spokesperson for the Texas power grid.
That's right, and thank you so much for having me. We got a tight, hot little grid out there, and we got to take care of it, or it's going to bust. Okay, and we can't be having that. That'll be a mess. So we're just asking the people of Texas to make small sacrifices, just little sacrifices, no blood or anything like that. There's that old saying, you can't have the rainbow without the rain, right? Well, you can't have light until we figure out what's going on out there, okay? Because Texas is set up on a power grid. And what a power grid is it's something different to everybody, and that's what you got to understand. I mean, would you rather have AC or would you rather have AOC? And think about that for a little bit, and it'll start to make sense. So really all we're asking the people of Texas to do is to unplug. Just unplug, just relax. Everybody's got to unplug sometimes. And if you don't unplug, God's going to find a way to make you unplug. And, in this scenario, we are God.
Sadly, a ton of people tonight thought that was real.
If this wasn't so serious, it would be funny. I mean, look, this isn't a problem just in Texas. This is a problem in every single state where the new Republican Party, the one that is based on ignorance, the one that is based on no science, the one that is based on keeping their pew dumb, the one that is based on lying to their people. This is what's happening throughout the Texas. What I don't get is what is their second move? Because after you govern based on lies, after you govern based on stupidity, after you govern where people's assets are ultimately declining, except for the plutocracy, that is, where do you go from there? You just go to the next lie? You just go to the next step? Look, folks, this is not really meant to be funny. This is actually pretty damn serious. The Republican Party has become a further clear and present danger to everybody, Republicans included. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.